Well, Rams.
Do you like them or not?
Rams. So
It's a controversial subject.
I have owned a lot of Rams, as have you. Let me see. My first truck was actually a Ram, 98, 5.2 two-wheel drive, and I thought it was king shits. I thought it was the best thing in the world, thought it was the biggest thing. Stock height, got stuck all the time, and I thought it was a killer. Man, when you're 16, you just think it's the best thing in the world. But how many of you own now? How many Rams?
Oh, probably 6. You did better than I did. My first was 96, V6, 3.9 liter, two-wheel drive, long bed. Still love that truck, though. 5-speed.
Wait, it's still around?
Well, no.
Oh, well, yeah, it's a second-gen Ram.
It's long rusted out and gone.
Man. I remember when I was a kid, I got so much flack for Rams because everyone was like, oh, Rams, that's a rich man's game. It was always the joke that Rams were like the most expensive ones. And they were for a long time.
Yeah, for a while.
And I feel like it's not the case anymore.
No. Ford's taking the cake with that.
Yeah. So I've got a 2016 Ram, 1500 4x4 5.7, kind of just your standard what you'd picture as a nice 1500 truck. And when I bought it, I was trying to buy a Ford. Man, they wanted like $5,000 or $6,000 more for the same truck, mid-grade.
Yeah. At least after Fiat took over, they did do it right by changing the interiors of them. It's one thing Dodge needed to do from day one. Their interiors have always sucked.
All right, folks, you're going to hear it here. The first disagreement on Munch's inaugural podcast. The interiors went to hell in the third-gen Ram and on. Those seats with the gray seats with the pattern.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Look at them and they stain.
I didn't like any of the older ones. I like the newer ones.
But and now I found out you can't even get a dark interior unless it's leather. At least with my fourth gen. The only way I could get a non-tan or non-gray interior was to get leather. I couldn't get a black cloth like my 05.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I like about my 05 and 04 I had. The dark interior, because you could just get in, out, never had to worry about getting the seats dirty.
And that's what's
nothing you could see, at least.
And that's what's funny. Chris and I pretty much have had the same trucks. What year's the you've still got a second gen, a green one. What year is that?
96.
But it's a different 96.
Yep, it's a 96. Got the 5.9 gasser in it. Short bed, extended cab. Love that truck.
It's lifted, isn't it?
Yep. Got about 3 inches of lift, running 35s on it.
Didn't it have a body lift?
Yep.
Because I sold you a brush guard in high school that it looked pretty bad on there.
Well, we raised it up, ended up welding some brackets on the bottom of it to lift it up before it ended up stolen on the freeway.
I was going to say, yeah, that got hijacked.
Yeah.
Boy, probably still floating around out there somewhere. Man. So what Rams do you have currently?
I got a 05 Cummins, an 08 Cummins, and then that 96.
Which is funny because I had an 05 Cummins too. I feel like when we talk about those things, people are going to think we just traded them around.
That's one thing I love. I'll never get rid of my Cummins again.
You know, so many people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but I sold it because it was falling apart. I sold it when I bought my 16, and man, it had 120,000 miles on it, and man, it was rough. It was ready for its third set of injectors. Some people have had a lot of luck with these things. I hadn't. But either way, I loved the truck. It was big. It was stock height. It was on 33 1250s. Stock height, all kinds of motor, exhaust work.
Suspension.
It was all stock suspension.
Oh, was it?
Well, except for rebuilding the entire front end and steering a few times.
Suspension.
Yeah, the standard stuff. But I didn't want to get rid of it. I mean, it was like, that was my dream truck pretty much, was that truck that I owned. Like, I was one of the fortunate few to own your dream truck. And that's why I was so mad when it started giving me problems.
I'm still to this day surprised that you got rid of that truck.
And that's where I was going to say where people are going to get mad, because my wife had to hear so much complaining about this thing crapping out. I'd come home and be like, well, Cummins is fucked. It's done. All the time. I'd say, I need a new truck. Probably for a year I just complained about this thing. And then I finally did it, traded it for a 1500, which upset a lot of people, I think you included. I thought it was the right move at the time, but in hindsight, Well, in hindsight, it definitely wasn't, and we'll get into that of why my 16 Ram was definitely a mistake to buy. But yeah, I think I screwed up. My Ram has already depreciated more than like that thing had, and I owned my '05 for 8 years, and it depreciated less than my 16 has in 2.
Yeah, those Cummins hold their value. They do nothing but go up.
I really screwed up. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. You do what you feel you need to in the moment, and what you feel is right. But yeah, it might have been a mistake. Well, and it works out that you still have 2 because I could just buy some of yours.
Good luck trying. Good luck trying.
Well,
I just don't like how they've changed and, in my opinion, downgraded the suspension on the newer trucks, the 15s, or what was it? It'd be the 15 and newer, where they went to the coil spring and everything's just soft and...
Yeah. So I still haven't gotten used to that coil spring rear because somebody was talking to me recently. They were like, well, Kyle, you haven't pulled a trailer in a while. I'm like, yeah, because I can't pull anything with that coil spring suspension. You put an unloaded flatbed on it and you're done. I mean, it's gonna be on the bump stops.
Yeah.
So it basically needs airbags to tow, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that'll disagree with this, but I just feel like it. I mean, when I put a couple people standing in it, the thing levels itself out.
I don't know if you get many people to disagree. I think that's why they upgraded and started putting airbags on them, is because of the towing problems they had.
Well, some hillbilly out there will complain. I tow everything with my stock 1500. It's fine.
If it rolls, it pulls, right?
And I could be just biased, too, because I'm coming from a 3/4 ton truck to a 1500 with coil spring rear suspension. And that was the other thing I didn't want to give up was I actually like the solid front axle.
Yeah, I've always loved that.
Yeah, the IFS drives a little better, but I just liked having that solid front axle.
It drove like a truck. You could use it as a truck then. It wasn't a luxury pickup.
And that's kind of what they are now. They really are, and that's I mean, it's been beaten to death, the topic, but they really are. I mean, they're luxury trucks. You can't just get a all metal, no fluff interior anymore. I mean, they just don't exist. And it's unfortunate because when I bought this 16, I wanted the V8, I wanted the nice wheels, but I didn't want anything else. I didn't even need the touch screen. You had to get the touch screen. And then what else? There were a few other options I didn't even want, but they were like, well, if you get this, you got to get that. And it's like, well, shoot. Because, yeah, like you said, I mean, our 2500s, they're no frills. Your gray one's the same way. It's probably the same interior.
Pretty much.
If you sell it to me, I'll probably just paint it black and say it's my old truck.
You could, but that's not
Except
happening.
Except for the trans. You're one of the rare people with a 6-speed.
Yeah, I do enjoy that. It's the G56 manual transmission in it. I love that thing.
Man. That's something else that's getting really hard to get.
Yep, I just got rid of I had what was that, 05 Hemi. Unfortunately blew it up, so I got rid of it last year.
When did you have an 05 Hemi?
For years. Had 350,000 miles on it.
Nobody
the blue one?
Anything.
Dark blue one?
I don't remember a blue Hemi.
Oh, yeah. Dark blue, 4-door, 350,000 when I blew it up. She burned a little oil and decided to take a ATV trip down to Wayne National Forest. Didn't pre-trip inspect.
Oh, the blue one. Oh, well, you had to remind me. You had to say the one that blew up.
Yeah.
And then I remembered it. Yeah. No, okay, yeah, I remember that.
Yep, going down through the hills. Yep, it was a 2500 and pegging out about, pulling a 5,000-pound trailer with 4,000-pound four-wheelers on it and about 6,000 RPM. She didn't enjoy it.
No, I do remember that. I think it's because you said the 5.7, and I automatically think 1,500 when I hear 5.7. Because, well, that was, what year was that again?
05.
And you could still get a 3/4 ton Ram with a 5.7.
Yeah.
Now it's just it's just the 6.4 gas.
And I tell you what, that was one truck that did impress me with all, Dodge and their transmissions. 350,000, stock transmission, original transmission, original transfer case, still chugging along.
Well, I'm sure we're going to get some listeners itching back and forth in their seats talking about Dodge transmissions here. But,
Well, I'm right there with them. I agree. I've put 4 transmissions in that 96 Ram of mine.
See, and I definitely need to knock on wood for this, but I've owned 5 Rams, and I've never had a trans problem. Now, like I said, on the inverse side of that, I also had a Cummins with 80,000 miles that needed injectors. So it's kind of like, well, which was better? But I haven't had a trans problem yet. So I always like being that like X factor.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, well, Dodge is trans, and I can be like, I've never had a trans problem. Granted, it's probably I'm gonna go to work tomorrow and it's gonna blow. But
Yeah, I haven't had very many problems with them. My that 96 1500 I had with the little V6 in it, I had the rear mounting ears break off of that one. I think it was NV 3500 maybe. It was a little 5-speed tranny. And then my 96, I'm not sure what I got in that, but I've had nothing but problems with that transmission.
Really?
Of course, I've overheated it multiple times off-roading it, so it probably didn't help the situation.
why are you doing that?
Listen, when the opportunity presents itself.
Like, kind of why I was just kind of done with my Cummins, because like the common rails, they were very, very fine-tuned for the fuel available at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, every little sensor in there, all the electronics, computer, everything was meant for fuel. And then, I don't remember what year exactly, but the government went to low sulfur diesel.
Uh-huh.
And in my opinion, those common rails just went, no. No, we can't take it. Because, I don't know, I got mine and it was good for a year or so, and then it just started acting up really bad and replaced the injectors, and it was good for another, 5 years until I sold it. But, until I sold it because the injectors were going out again. But, I don't know, I just feel like the common rails can't handle low sulfur. I feel like Power Strokes can. Power Strokes seem to do okay with it, but then again, I've never owned one. I had some work trucks. I had a 7.3 work truck once, but
7.3s are good motors.
yeah,
I have been impressed.